Welcome to Math Plus, where math makes sense. Add and subtract decimals. In this video, we're going to learn how to add and subtract any decimals, along with the whole numbers. So here are the basic steps. You align the decimal points. You add zeros for placeholders. You subtract from right to left. And number 4, you place the decimal point in the answer. Now, aligning the decimal point is the same thing as aligning place value. For example, if you were going to add 328 plus 14, if you would write that up and down, this is the way you would write it. You would make sure that the 4 is under the 8 because those both are in the ones place. And this is the tens place. And you would pretend like there's a 0 there. That's what they mean about placeholders. So for example, if you were adding these, it wouldn't be correct to add it like that because the place values are not lined up. So let's take a look at decimals, and then I'll show you why I have the snowman in the corner. Here's our problem: 5 and 46 hundredths plus 7 and 19 hundredths. So let's go ahead and write that up here. We have 5 and 46 hundredths. And then we're going to line up the decimals. Remember, that causes us to line up the place values. These are both hundreds, ones place. These are both the tenths, and these are the hundredths. So lining up the decimals is a way to make sure your place value is lined up. Now, what I try to teach students is to go ahead and put your decimal in the answer. And it kind of looks like the buttons on a snowman. So you line up the snowman buttons is what I say. Line them up, and then you can add just like you do whole numbers. You start from right, so you start at the far right place and add that way. So 6 and 9 is 15. You carry the 1 just like you would do if it were whole numbers. Then 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6, and 5 plus 7 is 12. And there's your answer. So notice the last step here is to place the decimal point in the answer. But so many times you forget to do that. That's why I like to go ahead, line up the decimal points, and then go ahead and put my decimal in the answer. Then you can just add like normal. So let's look at another one, and I'll show you the importance of lining up the decimal points. So here we have 8 and 8 tenths plus 2 and 87 hundredths. Now notice it's tempting to line them up like this. But that is wrong because the place values are not together. These are both the ones place, this is the tenths, and this would be the hundredths. And now we can put a 0 as a placeholder. And go ahead and put your decimal point in the answer so you're lining up the decimal points. And now you just add as if they were whole numbers. 0 plus 7 is 7. 8 plus 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 1 and 8 is 9. Plus 2 is 11. And that would be my answer. So you can see adding decimals is really no different than adding whole numbers. You just have to line up the decimal points and put that decimal point in your answer. Now, the exact same rules apply to subtracting. So here we have a subtraction problem. We have 11 and 8 tenths minus 9 and 1 tenth. Put my minus sign there so I remember I'm subtracting. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my decimal point in the answer. And then I just subtract like normal. 8 minus 1 is 7. 1 minus 9, oh, I cannot subtract that. So I'm going to go over here and borrow. That's going to be a 0, and this is going to become 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. So my answer is 2 7/10. Let's try one more subtraction problem. This is kind of a big one. 253 85 hundredths minus 24 89 hundredths. So just like the snowman, I'm going to go ahead and put my decimal point in the answer. And now I'm going to subtract like normal. 5 minus 9, I cannot take 9 away from 5, so I'm going to borrow from the 8, and that gives me 15. 15 minus 9 is 6. 7 minus 8, again, I cannot take 8 from 7, so I'm going to borrow next door, and now I have 17. 17 minus 8 is 9. 2 minus 4, again, I cannot subtract 4 from 2, so I have to borrow. And now I have 12. So 12 minus 4 is 8. 4 minus 2 is 2. And then 2 minus 0 is 2. So my answer is 228 96 hundredths. Again, adding or subtracting decimals. All you have to do is line up the decimal points, put that decimal point in the answer, and then you add and subtract just like you do whole numbers.